Welcome to the Tepper School of Business Multimedia Series. For more information on the Tepper School at Carnegie Mellon, please visit us at www.tepper.cmu.edu/multimedia. And now, here's your selected video.
On the product side, I would tell you that in certain sectors, automotive would be the best example. The majority of the steel grades we make today that allow the automobile that you will buy to be incredibly safer and lighter and more efficient, most of those grades were not in production 5 or 10 years ago. That's with research and development with our customers, listening to them, understanding their needs, and collaboratively with academics and others who are doing research that supports us. So been critically important to us. That's our single largest customer sector, automotive. For us, it would be 20% of our domestic business probably. Had we not done that, we would have been left behind. Other materials would have caught us, so that's an extremely important matter for us. Right now, in our global research consortium, we've launched a major research project to make sure that steel, to the extent we can influence it, stays the material of choice in whatever the new drivetrain is going to be, whether it's going to be electric, hybrid, whatever it may be. We want steel to be the material of choice for the body for that drivetrain, so incredibly important to us. On the process side, we've always done a lot of research on making our furnace linings last longer and our rolling mills run smoother, and that'll continue, but we have a new challenge in front of us, and that's climate change. Our sector in the U.S. contributes maybe 1 or 2% to total CO2 emissions. In the world, probably 5%, maybe a bit more, but our sector has a spotlight on it. We're going to need to reduce our emissions, and we can do some of that by being more efficient and doing things better with what we have, but at the end of the day, we need to have research done on new iron-making technology and perhaps carbon sequestration, both of which are subjects of research here at your fine university. If that is not a fruitful process in some time, 10, 20 years, our sector will be damaged by it. So it's critically important to us. That's our single most important research and process issue for the next 20 years. We've also diversified geographically. We now have operations in Central Europe, in Slovakia and Serbia. Those regions have slightly different economic parameters. They're more involved in basic manufacturing and construction and development, slightly different than our North American flat roll operation. And those economies generally run to somewhat different cycles than the U.S. economy does, so we like that kind of diversification. We haven't strayed beyond making steel because that's what we do, and we don't know enough to do many other things. And we think being able to tame this big industrial process we call steelmaking is a pretty noble thing to do. We'll stick with steel, but we'll diversify in a few different ways. I would put employee safety at the top of the list. That has been, in our company, since I've been involved in leadership, our principal core value, the thing we hold most dear and place above all other considerations. And we refuse to submit to the pyrrhic and false choice of either safety or profitability. We think we can have both, and we've been successful in doing that. If we can continue to maintain our focus on safety and chase our goal, and maybe someday catch it, of 0 injuries, which is really where we want to be, we will have succeeded in improving our profitability, our cost, our reliability, and our quality. That will all come along. So we worry about safety long range. Having new people join our company that have leadership potential to be better leaders than we are today, that's what we need. Because the world moves faster, competition gets harder, and if all we do is bring in people like us, we probably fall behind. Early in my career, I had leaders I worked with who gave me opportunities. And opportunity is a word that I use a lot in our company. We need to be able to attract people to our company who we can give opportunities to, and they can seek their fortune, whatever that may be, and they should be able to go as far and as fast as their ambition and their abilities take them. So I have a very sort of egalitarian, populist approach to leadership development. I didn't really look for opportunities. I was fortunate to have mentors really throughout my career at different levels that people for some reason gave me an opportunity, and I didn't usually resist and I didn't delay. When I had opportunities, I took them, and that's really how things have worked for me. In terms of leadership style, you really would need to ask my colleagues more about that than I could probably tell you, but what I try to do is nothing different today as, surprisingly, the CEO of a large company, which I never really set out to be. I do nothing different today that I can think of than I did 20 or 30 years ago as a young auditor leading a team on an audit expedition to some faraway plant location. I try to involve everybody, let everyone have their say, appreciate everyone's point of view, and move things to a conclusion. Every now and then, they don't get to a conclusion, and I have to decide. But if I'm doing my job right and I've got the right people, the actual decisions that I need to make in a year's time are relatively few. That's the way I try to lead things. Advice for students, particularly at an institution like Carnegie Mellon University, is difficult for me because most of them are a lot smarter than I am. But I would keep my advice at a fairly simple level, and one would be to take opportunities as they are provided. Even though if one has in one's mind a certain career path, opportunities are often presented that look like detours. I think one has to have faith when looking at opportunities that are presented, because they may not always look like opportunities. One should assume that one's going to do well, and that often changes the analysis of what path, this road or that road. If you assume you're going to do very well in both of them, which one turns out best? That kind of more optimistic analysis I would encourage students to apply to the opportunities they consider.